Make sure to like Caveman's Corner on Facebook and definitely click subscribe right now. You'll keep up to date with MMA news, you can hear our podcast, and see our funny videos. Click subscribe and the bell. Do it now!
Live from Caveman Studios in North Buffalo. Welcome to Caveman Corner with your host, Jeff.
Caveman!
Dance.
Crazy. You gotta need some caveman energy. Check out Caveman Energy on YouTube.
I seen that.
Yo, what's going on?
What's
Hey.
going on, Mr. Josh Burns? We got Josh Burns, Bare Knuckle fighting, heavyweight. How's it going?
Going well, guys. What's going on?
Pretty good, man. And I'm going to just put this on the record right here. He's going to be the heavyweight champion, the future heavyweight champion.
My man.
I like the sound of that. What needs to happen for you to get that title shot?
Literally absolutely nothing. I just need to stay the course. We've either got one of two options. Either Sam and Joey going to fight it out in April. They've moved me from the March card to the April card. So if anything happens with Sam, as we know with my fight, there was multiple times he had, didn't show up or, had issues that arose, which he pulled out. So if he does that with Joey, I'll be the mandatory fill-in. And if not, and they do fight, I'll have a number one elimination bout, title eliminator bout. And after my fight, after I knock out whoever they put in front of me, I'll confront the winner of those two and fight the winner.
That's awesome, man. We had a lot of bare knuckle guys on lately. We're big fans of sport. Ray especially, he turned me on to this sport. For a while, I thought it was going to be, no offense, I thought it was going to be pretty stupid, just a bunch of old washed up people. But man, the fights have been amazing. And ever since I watched the first card, I've been pumping it over and over again. I really like your guys' shows.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, and that's the thing a lot of people don't get is that this is not MMA and it's not boxing. So this is bare knuckle. So, and it's, a whole different world. This is a whole different world. So you get cracked with bare fists. Everyone's like, yeah, but MMA, you get kicked in the head, you get elbows, but it isn't constant. It's every once in a while or it ends a fight. This fight, from beginning to end, you're getting cracked bone on bone. And what this test is, it's really not even the athleticism or, the skill sets of other people until you get the higher level. At the end of the day, the very first thing it checks is your heart. If you don't have heart and you don't have will, you'll quit. You will quit. And, you saw it in the last, we had the last card, the Knucklemania. You've had, and I'm not going to put people on blast, but there's people on the card that were supposed to be, just juggernauts and upcoming monsters. And they fought real people. And when they fought real people, they ended up just folding under the pressure. So, and it just goes to show, you think you're tough in this sport until you get hit, and I'm blessed enough I've been doing this stuff almost 6 years now. I was in Europe for almost 5 years, getting the real European bare knuckle scene. Obviously I was one of only a handful of Americans that actually went over there, and I was actually only one of two Americans that actually consistently went over there and had 10 plus fights. And you really got the lay of the land. They're a little bit different. They do that proper Victorian style boxing, so they do not allow clenching and what have you. But here is more tailor made to someone like myself that we can grapple. As far as ties, plum ties, half plum ties, and dirty boxing is promoted. So it's a crazy ass sport. And once you watch it once, people understand. They'll understand like this is a whole different world.
I tell that to everyone that always makes fun of me for watching bare knuckle boxing, because I used to make fun of it, and now I push it all the time. So people are like, "Oh yeah, they're paying you, right?" And I'm like, "No, I'm really fascinated by it. Like, obviously, I'm not getting any financial rewards from having you on the podcast, but we're really trying to promote bare knuckle boxing. We really, really like it. So everyone that's listening to this, definitely check out bare knuckle boxing if you're a big MMA fan, because that's our basic audience. I do have a few questions though. So like everyone knows that if you want to be a good wrestler, you come to America to learn wrestling, and like all the really good MMA fighting is happening here. And bare knuckle boxing, is that kind of how Europe is? Because to me, just a layman of the sport, I always hear that like England is the home of bare knuckle boxing, and like over in Europe, that's where it's at. Is that the truth, or what's going on now?
Well, I can tell you this. As far as the European scene, that is where it was originated. That's where it was founded, and was brought over the pond over here. And we obviously picked up on it, but it's just a different breed. And like people go to America to wrestle, this and that. This sport is about heart. And the one thing I've noticed and I found a lot in Europe is, I mean, I found, I had some fights where, I went in and realized I was, dominant, much more of a dominant fighter than the individual I was fighting. But the one thing that the European fighters have, man, is this incredible heart. And I would say, man, 80% of them, that you can knock them down and they're going to just keep getting up. They're going to do what they can. I mean, if they're not unconscious, they're going to try to get up. And I got lucky. I learned a valuable lesson in heart and how it goes. And you're either born with it or you're not. It's not something you can be taught. And that's the one thing that I found out in Europe. We would bring over a lot of UFC stars and American stars, and they would come over, and 90% of them get hit once or twice, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm done." They didn't get knocked. They didn't get knocked out. They quit. Just like you watch Bare Knuckle. I mean, you watch Knucklemania, the last one, Knucklemania. There's multiple people on there that just quit. They got hit hard and they quit. They weren't, separated from consciousness. If you watch my last fight with Chris Sorrow, that dude was separated from consciousness. I still give him credit. He didn't quit. He wasn't being a bitch about it. I just, separated him from his consciousness. And by the time he got up, I was standing right there. I watched him. He's like, "Oh, what happened?" So he went to sleep.
Yeah.
So, you got to give him that credit. So he didn't quit. But I see a lot of people quit. And no matter how athletic or how badass you think you are, especially at the heavyweight division, a lot of these guys, talk a lot of talk, and you watch you guys, and you can be like, even some of the guys on the roster, they've never been hit. You watch these guys and watch the beginning days of the BKFC, and it's no fault of Dave Feldman. It's just they were just trying to get started. None of these guys knew what it was about, and not many of them fought. Joey Beltran is one of the guys that did. Tony Lopez is one of the guys that did. These guys that get in there and grind. But these other guys just pity patter. They try to be safe. They try to be soft. They don't want to hurt themselves. So it's a whole different world. So you start bringing that pressure and you hit the way that I fight. You know what I'm saying? Every time I try to hit you, it's got mean intentions. I'm trying to hurt you.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's a whole different world. And I learned that when I was in the UK. And I have 2 losses over there. And the 2 great guys, Harry Miles was the first fight that I fought over there, and I lost on a decision. And I learned, it was my first fight. I learned, and then my world title fight against Mickey Terrell, who I believe right now is still the number 1 ranked heavyweight in the world in bare knuckle. And we're currently actively trying to pull him over to BKFC, because once I get this title, once I take this belt, that's who I want. I'm definitely, and it's all out of respect. It's not a disrespect. Mick is a hell of a dude. But I'm going to tell you right now, I started slow in our fight at the O2 Arena. We fought. I started slow the first 2 rounds. He ripped my nostril off, cut me. I was like a little punching bag. And by the time I woke up, it was too little too late against the number 1 guy in the world. And they ended up stopping it, I think, in the 4th due to the nose, because my left nostril was ripped off.
Wow.
But
dude.
yeah, it's all, you definitely get a good learning experience by being over there. Things that guys here in the United States, get a lot of guys here that these guys, you gotta understand, the guys here in America, they're still babies. Like, I've been doing this for literally, this is my 6th year doing it. These guys, if you were with this company in the very beginning, what is this, 3 years? They're just now reaching that 3rd year, or that 3.5 year gap. So it's almost twice as much experience. And, they just don't understand the game. That's just the reality.
I got one more question about the difference between here and there, and then we can get into some more current stuff. But you talked about the clinch, and it's frowned upon over there, and it's not legal over in Europe. Does that play a huge difference? You think that would make a big difference in the rematch?
So 100% for a fighter like me, it's absolutely a game changer. So in Europe, they're proper. So when I got, and I'll just be that honest with you, Mickey Terrell, when I fought for the world title against him, he gave me a boxing lesson on movement. That guy moved slicker than a middleweight. When we fought, I hit him once or twice, and after that, he was just like, "Nope, not no more." And he stayed long, and that they promote that. They promote the Victorian style boxing, the proper boxing. So for a guy like me, if I'm getting pieced up here in the U.S., I can bum rush you, wrap, you throw an underhook on you, and as long as I have one arm free throwing, and long as we're conducting punches, they're not going to stop it. So that 100% favors the athletes like me, where I consider myself a pressure fighter, but I'm short and stout, where a lot of these heavyweights are tall and long. This is not boxing. It's more of a sprint. It's a 2-minute round. You can't sprint the entire round, but you pretty much, at least half of it, you're sprinting. You should be if you're wanting to win. So it absolutely is a game changer for guys like myself. The BKFC rules absolutely are a benefit to guys that want to tie it up and mix it up and have that dirty boxing and make it an ugly fight. It's a beautiful thing.
So it's kind of like the difference between, I would say, kickboxing and Muay Thai then. So, like, when you're clinched up, they don't stop the fight. You can still, as long as you're attacking, they're not going to break the clinch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely understand that because I hated K1 fight and I love Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So, I get you there, man. I understand that.
Yep.
Now you got Mark Coleman in your corner, the Hammer. Now,
Right.
how'd that feel, man, to have him in the corner, a legend like that?
Well, it's an amazing feeling, and he and I, I more look at him. It's not like I'm looking at a legend. It's a blessing to have a legend, but it's like a brother.
Right.
So he has the he has the power over me like a big brother. So if you watch my last fight, the first round, I was coming off a 16-month layoff, and I was very, very lull in the first round. Yeah, didn't do much. I threw a few punches, let my opponent know, he was outmatched. And by the time I started getting comfortable, the round was over. Went back to the corner. You can hear Mark clearly say, he wants me to throw my effing hands and stop effing around. And when round 2 started, you see me, I don't even throw a punch. And the next thing you can hear Coleman in the background, let's go, JB. As soon as he says that, I throw a three. It was a 3-punch combo, the triple jab, kind of threw a light jab, and then a 3-2, and it was over. So, and that was just because it's like a big brother. He's like, it's motivation, it's support, and it's pressure. I don't want to upset him. I want to, obviously make him happy. And if you watched after that fight, he was probably more excited after that fight than I was.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool thing.
He definitely loves this guy. We had him on the podcast, and he talked about like how he was fighting just so he could have his gym at times too, and like all that money went back into the gym. And we wish him well with all his health as well.
No, I appreciate that. He's doing a lot better though. He's doing a lot better, guys. He's doing a lot better, and he's much better spirits and healthy, and getting into training again. So he's doing a lot better.
That's good. Hopefully, we appreciate you coming on Valentine's Day because we did get him in trouble with his old lady on our podcast with him.
Oh yeah.
No, I believe it. Yeah, no, I'm all good. My girl's sitting next to me, so I'm straight. I'm good.
Perfect, man. Because she came home when she was young. We could hear him on over the thing. We're like, oh man, just blame it on us, bro. It was bad. I felt terrible. But that was all Ray's fault.
Yeah. So, where you from? You from Michigan or Ohio?
Actually, I was born in Ohio. I grew up until my freshman year in high school in Southern California, and then I flew back out. My dad was junior vice president for Wendy's, so we flew back out to Columbus, Ohio. We were in Dublin and then Upper Arlington, and then my pops decided to buy a flipping farm out in the country, and so I turned into being a farm hand for a pig and cattle farm, and through high school. And then I obviously came up here to Detroit to train under Manny Stewart, in the famed Kronk, and you definitely got a lot of good lessons there, and met a lot of great guys, and it was a blessing.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna have something, Ray. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Emmanuel Stewart is a great trainer.
Yeah, Manny was good. Manny was one of the ones that pretty much said the same thing Mark said. Was like, you can't be boxing, bro. You go that MMA, get out of here. Cause we don't do that tie up shit. Like I train with Julius Long. Julius is 7'2", and I get in there and I'm like, I can't hit this dude in the head, So I'd be snatching this waist up and trying to throw him around, and they was like, whoa. We ain't having that, white boy. Stop.
Now, do you have like a wrestling background?
I do. Yep. Wrestle high school and in college.
Does Mark challenge you for takedowns still today?
You know what? Mark's it's funny. Mark and I are two different wrestlers. So Mark's a power double. He's an aggressive power double wrestler. And for me, I was more of a counter wrestler. I'm more of a Greco wrestler. So I'm upper body, and I like to counter wrestle. So off of your offense, do what I got to do. So, but no, Mark is always supreme, and so was Kevin Random. And Kevin's a I trained with him for a while too. God bless his soul. You know, he's passed, but he was just, that dude is so fast and so athletic. And then we had Brandon Hinkle, who was also two-time double A champion. So
That guy is way better than anyone ever gave him credit for. He was a phenomenal wrestler.
yeah, yep.
So I gotta go back to moving around. What kind of culture shock is it going from California to Ohio?
You know, huge, because I spent my summers in San Diego, California. You know, boogie boarding, trying to surf. You know, I was a kid, so you know, on Pacific Beach, you know, at Crystal Pier, and then you go from that to pretty much a farm and cows and pigs and snow, and it was definitely culture shock. And I went from being a, you know, blonde hair, blue eye. I mean, I still have blonde hair, blue eye kid, but no more, you know, riding the beach and chilling on the weekends to cleaning cow stalls and
Ugh.
pig crap and all that good jazz. So it's a big difference.
You went from Baywatch to like being on the farm looking at
Yeah,
cows.
yeah, exactly.
Poor guy. At least you got a beautiful girlfriend or wife or significant other, whoever you're with. That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah. It's good. It's all good now. I can just visit the other areas, and I got all my kids here. So, you know, I ain't going nowhere. I got my kids in this general vicinity between Ohio and Michigan and Georgia. Actually, my eldest live in Georgia, so I'll be sticking here until they all get a little bit older.
Nice. Where are you gonna try and live when you're done with everything?
I've always been a beach guy, man. Grew up being a beach guy. That's my heart and soul's on the ocean. So, not, and I'll be honest with you. I'm, you know, not to be political, but with California being a kind of a shit show, I don't think I'd go back out there, even though I want to. That's where my heart's at. So I might try the East Coast or something. I just, you know what?
Try Florida.
The ocean's the ocean, man. The ocean is the ocean, and
Yeah.
there's nothing like it, man. It rejuvenates the soul, and it just changes your whole outlook on life, man.
It's
So that's
cold
what
up
I'll
north
end up
though.
doing.
It's cold.
Yeah, bro. I ain't trying to be up in the cold, bro. I ain't no Maine or nothing like that.
So that brings us to a very interesting topic, COVID.
Yep.
So how has training been during COVID for you? I mean, up here it's closed down the gyms. It's been pretty bad for a long time. At least you escaped California. I know Ohio's been open way longer than us. We just really opened our gyms just a couple weeks ago again.
Yeah, well, you know, the blessing is, you know, being a professional athlete and having the connections I have. It's, you know, to be quite honest with you, I've never stopped training the entire time. I mean, I got COVID, you know, May, June, you know, got every symptom there was, but it only lasted like 6 days. After 6 days, I tested clear on the 10th day and went right back to training. So the blessing is I have my trainers are all personalized to myself, and obviously I couldn't have sparring partners and things like that, but my trainers, you know, have my one-on-one training sessions, closed gym. So we weren't breaking any rules, and really never skipped a beat, to be quite honest with you.
That's really nice, man. That sounds perfect. That's a great way to be. Some of the other
Yeah,
bare knuckle guys we talked to not as well set up as you, and they had some difficulties training this time.
yeah. No, I'm blessed, man. Blessed. Been in the game for a while, you know, and had the blessing, you know, to set very good relationships, and you know, you got your standard core people around you, and that's what you do. You don't bounce around. You keep the same people around you. So when time comes, they need something, you're there, and if you need something, they're there, and you know, it's a blessing to have that.
Sounds like a bunch of wrestlers.
Exactly.
That's how it goes, man.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about training. How do you train to fight bare knuckle? Do you train in the gloves? Do you train without gloves? What do you do to get ready for a fight?
Yeah, well, you know, and that's the thing. A lot of these yahoos out here, you know, with these misconceptions of how bare knuckle fighters fight, like they go out there and watch these damn, you know, Japanese movies and all these kung fu artists and that are hitting woods and doing all this stuff. Like, you gotta understand, those guys, all those masters that do that, they've been doing it for 20, 30 years. Okay, it's not, hey, I'm gonna go hit these boards for 6 months. That's gonna make my bones stronger because, you know. I've got my education in exercise physiology, so you know, I'm educated, and I can tell you, like, this is off of your bone density is off of repetitive impact. So your metacarpals, your bone density, all that is off of repetitive impact and over the lifespan of your training. So if you've been training proper and you've been consistent with your training, your bone density is going to be thicker anyways, a fighter. Now, some fighters are prone to having more brittle hands or what have you. Well, then you actually just you train that. You train for it. So for me, what I'll do is training wise, I always wear gloves. I don't wear MMA gloves because guys are, oh, I'm getting ready to throw them bare knuckle. I'm going to wear MMA gloves. Well, that's stupid. Why? You need to wear your 16 ounce, build up the strength in your shoulders like you're supposed to. Don't wear wraps. That strengthens your wrists, strengthens your hands, helps strengthen up the metacarpals, getting that repetitive impact. Now, when you spar, you absolutely wrap your hands, but you wrap your hands the same way that you're allowed to wrap your hands when you fight bare knuckle. So it teaches your hands to be able to take that impact, and also teaches you, even though you're wearing gloves, if you don't wrap your hands like a boxer and you wrap them the way you're only allowed to wrap when you're a bare knuckle fighter, there's difference. You can feel the difference in the glove. You can feel the difference in the impact. So you learn how to punch properly. Now, wearing the gloves, if you make a mistake, you're not breaking your hand. You're just like, oh my God, your hand's gonna be sore for a couple of days, and like realize you did something wrong. So, you got to be more intelligent, and that's the thing. These are the things that I learned. Like everyone in the BKFC, they're all young pups. Joey Beltran included, and Joey's my boy. Like, he's a good dude, but these guys are all young pups. They just learning. I've been doing this shit twice as long as anybody, and I learned from the best, which is in the UK. The bottom line, the UK has the most experience because these guys have been doing it for generations. You got a problem with me, and I got a problem with you. We're going in the backyard and we're gonna throw down. And this is what they do. So this is generational. They teach the kids, they pass it down. So you learn their tricks. They teach you, and obviously it took a couple of years for me to get in the inside, being American. But having the blessing of being around these guys and them understanding who I was, and I'm not your typical American, and you just be dead honest. Most Americans are greedy and all about money and all about themselves and blah blah blah. And I'm just really not that guy. So I was blessed to meet a lot of good Welsh fighters. The Welsh are wild, crazy people. A lot of good Irish fighters like Jimmy Sweeney. And these guys, showed me some tricks of the trade and taught me some things, along the way. And it was a blessing. So you learn how to train properly and get ready, for these fights. And like I said, when I fought boxing, broke my hand twice. MMA, broke my hand 3 times. I've fought bare knuckle for almost 6 years now. And I've, knock on wood, but I've never broken a hand, never hurt my hand ever.
All right, before we drink you too much, I do have a question. I've been thinking about it the whole time you've been talking, so I want to ask it. How do you wrap your hands when you're fighting bare knuckle boxing? Where do you have to have behind the knuckles? Do they measure it?
Yeah, they got to have it basically 2 inches behind the knuckle, or 2 fingers, 2 inches behind. So basically mid hand is the highest you can go with your wrap. So essentially, what you're doing is you're reinforcing your wrists and you're the base of your metacarpals. So now there's some fighters, and I think it's dumb, but they'll just wrap their wrist only. They'll wrap their wrist only and go out there to fight. Now, you doing that, if someone gives you they give you an option to, if you're going to go play basketball, they give you an option to wear low tops or high tops. Me personally, I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to wear high tops. They'll go, oh, that might weaken your ankles. No, I'm only doing it during the time of the sport. So it gives me extra support. That is simply it. So same concept, so when you fight, you're going to be about mid hand down, and then you're allowed to go, obviously a little bit below the wrist.
Are you allowed to tape your thumb as well?
Yep, you can tape the thumb, not tape the thumb. I think technically they prefer that you wrap it around the thumb.
Gotcha.
So
it's like locked in place.
Kind of, yeah, sort of. I mean, I was down in, I only had one here stateside, and I was in Mississippi, and they were a little bit lax on how you did it. You had to go around the thumb, but you didn't have to immobilize the thumb or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? To where you could barely move it. So
right.
As long as you incorporated the thumb, they were good.
I'm just thinking because when I fight MMA, so I want to be able to use my thumb. So
Right.
I don't like my thumb wrapped too tight, and I was wondering if you had to or not because it'd feel weird.
Yeah. So
cool.
definitely don't have to immobilize it where you can't grab, can't do stuff. So you know what I'm saying. But they do want to see it at least wrapped one time around.
Yeah, because you guys are still plumbing, so you're still clinching and throwing uppercuts and stuff. So you
Right.
want to be able to use your thumb. It's not like
Yep,
where you want to be
exactly.
like totally isolated. I was just wondering personally. I'm sorry. I know that's not very interesting, but
That's all good.
so let's go to something that people are pretty interested in a lot more than how I imagine you wrap your hands. So I heard there was some junk talking and maybe some online stuff with I know you don't want to say his name, so some unspecified fighter that you recently fought.
Oh, I mean, we can say his name. No, it's fine. If you want to talk about the Chris Sarlo thing, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah. Well, you said you didn't want to bring him any attention, so I didn't even want to bring up his name. So
Yeah.
I figured that was the best way to do it. Just like shoot
Nah, I
right over
appreciate it.
that.
Yeah, it's all good, man. We just make it quick. I mean, we'll make it quick, just like the fight was.
All right.
So, I mean, the guy is just, God bless him. He's young I mean, he's not young. He's a 36-year-old guy. So, but he just seemed to be the kind of guy that's a bully, and comes from a small town. And I'll be honest with you, I got 30+ messages from people from that small town, which is about 1,600 people, I think it was when I looked it up. So, a decent amount of people just saying, before I fought him, saying, "Hey, please, he doesn't represent our town. He doesn't represent our city. That's not what we're about." And then after I won, then I got even more just saying, "Hey, thank you for, hopefully humbling him up a little bit." And to be honest with you, I kind of feel bad for the guy, if you want to be dead honest, because, I mean, he's just so confused. I mean, it's just, I mean, he photoshops pictures of our fight. Clearly, things that never happened in the fight, like him smashing me in the face with a punch and all this good stuff. And I'm like, and people were calling him out on it. But you know what? I guess you got to live in your own head a little bit, to be a fighter, because you got to be a little crazy. So the fact that he's a little crazy, I guess, is kind of par for the course. But it was just, this guy just went a little bit off, and and he constantly goes, "Oh, I never talked about his family." Well, he did things, and absolutely, and everybody, like I told you guys before the show, like, same thing. Like, there's things where everybody would say, "Yep, that's absolutely what happened." When you start doing things publicly and bringing family into it, or things that surround the family, like, you can't do that. So for me, I didn't enter the fight with any emotion. Kept it all in check. You watch the weigh-ins. He's just, he's insecure when we go to face off, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "I ain't afraid of you." I'm like, well, thank God, because we're supposed to fight. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, obviously now I know you're afraid. So now I know you're afraid. This guy reached out to me online. We're not friends. He reached out to me, sent me artwork and all this good stuff. Like, "Oh, I just did this, laugh out loud. Oh, so respect. Respect. It's gonna be an honor to fight you." I'm old school. Like, you can tell me all that shit when we done, but until the time, I want to rip your throat out. So don't try to be my buddy before the fight. So, and as I'm saying it now, I consider it kind of a bitch move, and you're tilting your hand, you're tipping your hand, I should say, and I'm kind of seeing the insight to where your head's at. And then, as soon as we weighed in and I walked up, the first thing out of his mouth was, "I ain't afraid of you." And I'm like, okay, well, now I know you're afraid of me. So now I'm just being quiet, and he just keeps talking. "Oh, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight." And I'm like, okay, I hope so. "What the fuck you want me to say to that, bro?" Okay, great. Now I look at the crowd, and he's like, "Hope so." I mean, you can watch all this on the video, but he's like, he's looking around for, like, validation from people. I'm just doing me. I'm just, "Look, bro, we'll just see how long that chin holds up. All right." Okay, cool. And I walk away. He's still standing there looking at Dave Feldman and looking at one of the Mississippi guys, one of the commissioners. Maybe they're buddies, because they were laughing. So I'm like, "All right, cool. Laugh all you want, homeboy. We're going to meet in the ring tomorrow. We'll just see what happens. Hey, maybe I get my head torn off. You never know. But I'm just, hey, it's a fight." So, and obviously the fight, I mean, shit, watch the damn fight. The fool walks into the ring. He's pointing at me, talking shit to me the whole time, all the way to the ring. I'm like, it's all good. But I'm not going to lie. I act a little bit of an ass. And I've always said this every interview I've had since the fight is, I apologize. I don't want people to think I'm a complete douche. But you take that cork out the bottle, it's hard. It's hard to put it back in. And as soon as he was literally physically kissing the mat, like literally his lips are on the mat, at that point, it all comes out,
Yeah, we may have put that picture up ourselves.
Yeah. So, and he had said some crude things to me online and stuff, and some voicemails, and so the fact that I was like, "Oh man, what were you saying? What were you saying?" I just wanted to walk over the top of him, because it's what he said he was going to do to me, and I just supposed to be whispering it, but of course I'm yelling it, and just telling him, "Where you at, bitch? Get the fuck up.
Yeah.
Let's go." So excuse the language, but
Oh, don't worry about it.
So yeah, it is what it is.
For anyone that hasn't fought, you guys, you probably can't understand what that rush of emotions like when you actually knock someone out and the fight is over, especially when they've been talking a whole lot of shit all the way leading up to it. Because sometimes it's personal, and it sounds like it was pretty personal to you. And the more personal it is to me, the quieter I get, and the more I'm going to solve it in the cage. Well, for you to ring, but it's the same thing. and like there's such an adrenaline drop, and like you just accomplish your goal in life. Like for a person that hasn't done this, it's really hard to understand because there's nothing in real life that equates to that feeling. Like you close the biggest business deal of your life, you're not gonna get up and slam stuff, but when you physically dominate somebody, that's like you just have to let it out sometimes.
It's kind of like the way I could express it is you're gonna do something. Let's just say jumping out of an airplane. Yep, you most likely aren't gonna die, but you're doing something that if one thing goes wrong, you could die. And now you got a heckler, somebody telling you, a hater telling you, oh, that shit ain't gonna work, all this ain't gonna work, oh, you're gonna die. So you go through the rush, you land on the ground, you're still alive, and that idiot standing right there, you're gonna have words for him. Like, look, motherfucker, I'm here. Like, thank you. Because you already know you're scared. Like, and people don't get that. Like, being a fighter, I don't care who you are. Tyson says it best. You back scared. You are scared. You're scared of losing. You're scared the entire time. You thought this guy might be able to beat you. You don't want that to happen. Like, it's a fear. Like, you have fear, and you turn that fear into positivity. You turn it into positive energy into your favor. But as you walk closer to the ring, all that shit starts to fade away. But until you get that walk, it's that nervous energy backstage. You're like, everything good, everything bad is going through your head, everything. And then on top of all that, you got somebody who was, talking really poorly to you or just going crazy. And if you're not that guy, which I'm not, I've done this, 16 years, and I've never had anybody run their mouth. Now when I'm in the BKFC now, I now have 2 guys that have now ran their mouths. And I'm just like, what the hell's wrong with you people? Obviously, you saw what happened to this guy. You think you're that much better than that guy. Okay, great. But what happens if not? Now look at, you look at Chris Sarro. I was a bum, I'm this, I'm that. But then he gets knocked out, his head bounces like a basketball on the floor. And then now it's like, oh, well, I lost to the number 3 heavyweight in the world. There's no shame in that. It just didn't go the way I want. So you reverse it. Now you're going to talk positive about me that I'm a great fighter. So it's just like, so why not just keep your mouth shut the entire time, show respect, keep that positive energy in you, but you ain't got to put someone down to try to put yourself up. It's the same thing I tell my kids. Whenever you make fun of someone, you're showing an insecurity about yourself. There's something about you that you're not happy with. So, pick people up. Don't put them down. Even in this sport, even when we're going to hurt each other, you can definitely say, hey, I don't think that you're as good a fighter as you think, and I'm going to prove it, but you don't got to start bringing family and start putting them down and start being, negative. That's just my opinion. So, yeah.
I say that all the time. I'm like, let's be respectful, like when I fight, but then I'm like such a hypocrite because I see Conor McGregor make fun of people. I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny, and then I laugh at it. And I'm like, I gotta watch Conor McGregor, like it kind of sells, man. Like I hate it, and like I was not raised that way, and I think it's cool to be respectful. But then you see someone that's good at it, dude, and you're like, oh yeah, I want to get that ticket. Like, do you think there's a place for that in fighting?
Well, see, but Conor, he does it in a way where it's an act.
Yeah.
It's always that's his bravado. It's who he is. Now, when he fought Aldo, that was personal. Yep. They just liked it. They talk shit about each other. Okay, so it's no different than a Sarro, thing with me. But all the other guys, he makes fun like the classic meme of who the fuck's that guy? Who's that guy? You clearly know who it is, but he's being funny. He's bringing attention. So there's no problem with that at all. But you got to have class, and I think Conor has class. I think he knows exactly what the hell he's doing. It's all calculated. No different than Ali. Ali he did it as it was calculated class. Like he would be fun. Now, just like Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier took offense to some of the shit that he did because Frazier helped him out when he was, struggling. So he's like, hey, how could you ever call me a gorilla? Like, why would you do that? And he took it personal, but Ali never took it to that personal level. He never meant it as a personal threat. It was just to sell things, get it hyped up. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a difference. But when you start talking about family, and you start going outside the realm of fighting, and you start talking about personal things, that's when you're crossing the line, personally.
Yeah, Connor's done that a few times too, and I still laugh at it.
Yeah. Listen, I was on a roll there. You could have just went with it. Okay?
I could have, man, but that's not how the
kids listening. You make me look good here. Okay?
Yeah, that's not how the show. You're trying to make him look like you're trying to make it look good, but I'm just dropping reality on you. Like he's awesome to watch, and I'm a hypocrite, and I know I lay in bed and I think about it sometimes. Like, man, I'm such a hypocrite. Like it bothers me at night. But I love it. Like, I'm drawn to it. Like, you can't not be. It's like the alphas in us. We're like, just want to see what's going to happen.
100%.
So then you're excited when he loses too. Like you're like, he deserved to lose. You know, like, dude, like I don't know. I hate that part of the
You're
sport.
one of those guys.
Yeah.
You're one of those guys.
No.
You're all on his side until he loses, and you're like, he deserved to lose.
It depends on what shit he talks. Like I felt bad he lost last time because he was so nice, and then like he talks all the shit he wins. Like it's tough, man. Like I don't know. It's just tough. He's just such a good athlete. He's so controversial. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So that brings me into something else. Bare knuckle boxing is getting bigger and bigger. Do you think it's nice to have, let's say, pretty stars coming over from other sports, making a big splash and probably sucking up a lot of the money? How do you feel about that?
I think that anyone that talks shit about it is a damn hypocrite, because all these people that are fucking nobodies. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I have a little bit of a name. I've been in different sports. I have a little bit of following. I got a little bit international because I fought in different countries. And I look at it as a blessing. Dave Feldman, what they're doing is a fucking genius thing. You bring big names in to bring more attention to it. Now, it's just like Tyson. Half the world loved him, half the world hated him. But you know what they all did? 100% of the world watched it. Okay, whether you wanted to get knocked out, you wanted to win, but they all watched it. It's the same thing with the Paige Van Zandt. They bring Paige in. She's beautiful. She's known for having heart. She proved it in the fight. She just didn't get comfortable quick enough. That's the only downside. I don't think Britain Hart is on that level. That's just my opinion. And Britain Hart is actually a friend of Kevin Smith, a friend of mine, and he's part of the team, or she's part of the team. And you know what? I honestly I don't think that she is the one. I don't think she has the skill sets. But in this sport, it's a different realm, and people don't get it until they get in there and they get hit, and then they go, "Ooh, this is completely different." Ooh, and Paige was one of them that said, "Oh, I fight with MMA gloves. It's not much different." No, sweetheart, it's a big different. You're about to find out. And I was pulling for Paige, and my girl and I, she's sitting right here. She agrees. Well, I was watching, and about round 2, I looked at my girl and go, "It's not good. She's not getting comfortable." She finally got comfortable, in my opinion, about round 4, halfway through round 4. I looked at her and go, and she don't stop Britt, it's a wrap. And the only one to stop Britt was Ferreira. So Christine was the only one, and she smoked her quick. So that was the only person that ever stopped her. I said, I don't see it. Now, doing wrong. Paige fucked her up pretty good, messed up her bottom teeth, pushed her teeth out, but it wasn't enough to win the fight. So, and now everybody gets in here and gets mad. Oh, I get my money. I want to get paid. Like, listen, first of all, fool, ain't nobody know who you are. if you don't bring, and I love everybody. Like, there's a few of my friends that are in this sport that are in big rifts with BKFC because they're not getting paid. And like, listen, ain't nobody know who the fuck you are. And then you like, I'm worth this money. No, you're not. Nobody. If it isn't for BKFC, you would be unknown. So let's be real. Let's stop trying to act like we're more than we are. We're in the part of the sport now where we're building the sport. Now, you go look back in 20 years from now, and they can look back and be like, hey, you're one of the pioneers. Just like UFC. Those guys weren't making big cheddar. They weren't making big jack. They weren't fucking, killing it. But they were doing it for the love and for their reputation and their legacies, right? Same thing now. That's what all of us are. We're all pioneering it. We're all getting it, getting a good base. So the guys in 20 years from now will be getting big paydays, and they can look back and say, hey, remember when Josh Burns was there? Man, that motherfucker fought in the UK, didn't make anything, did 15-hour flights, fought on the same day. Like, they did not treat me good over there. But yet I did it because I wanted to learn. I wanted the process. I needed that wealth of knowledge that I was going to get over there. I didn't do it for the fucking money. I did it for the experience. And I knew Dave was getting things running here. As soon as that happens, of course I'm coming back stateside. Why the hell would I go over there? I hate, I'll be honest with you, I dislike that country. It was, a lot of nice people over there, but America's where I'm at, man. That's my home, and that's where I want to stay. And now that I'm here, I'm the most experienced fighter that they have on the roster.
I like that.
We talked about discrepancies with records, and got other heavyweights that bring my name up, like, oh, you're a 500 fighter, you're a gatekeeper, old man. I'm like, all right, bet. You go on YouTube right now, go look up my fights. You can't find all 6 of my wins are pulled down. They only have the 4 losses they say I have. Well, 2 of them were no contest because they were medically declared no contest after the fight, because medical staff goes, yo, he was cut fingernail. It's obvious right here. Boom. And the other one, I got gouged in the eye, and the surgeon was the one that signed off on the paperwork going, something was lodged so deep in his eye, his ocular nerve was scratched.
Damn.
You don't do that unless it was lodged deep. So they knew that. Oh, mate, you're good, mate. We'll fix it, mate. No problem. Well, as soon as I tell him, hey, I'm not coming back over. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna sign with Dave. I don't feel like flying out here no more, right? And I have all the transactions. I have all the proof. 6 weeks later, they're like, oh, we cut Josh Burns. And then 2 weeks later, they report my record as 4-4. I'm like, okay. And right now, we're in such an early stage of the game that I really, what can I do? You know, what can I do? They're it's kind of the Wild West over there. They can say whatever they want. And then but to my credit, or to what I believe proves what I'm saying, if you go online right now, you can't find any wins for Josh Burns. All you see is those 4 fights, and watch all 4. You'll see the 2 that I know that 100% those are losses: world title and then Harry Miles. Watch the other 2, Tony Johnson and Pottermore. I knocked that Pottermore guy down for 21 seconds, but they let the fight keep going, and then he gouges me in the eye, and then they stop it because my eye swells up, not from a punch. It swells up for like an eye poke. So people that have common sense can go look at it and go, okay, not, it's the old saying, oh, it's on the internet, must be true, right? So people know there's stories to everything. But for me, everything starts new here. Like my girl said, everything, hey, we're 0-0 before the Chris Sauer fight. We're 0-0. We're starting new here. We'll make a name for ourselves here. We bounced Chris's head off the ground like a basketball. Now, I'm next in line for the heavyweight championship. Hopefully I get to fight that fight sooner than later. And if I have to fight one more before I get the fight, then so be it. I'll do the same thing to the next guy. Because there is literally no one in this heavyweight division that fights the way I do, has the pressure that I have. And I'm telling you right now, you hit me in the head with a bat. Not one of these heavyweights besides Joey Beltran have proven that you can walk through being hit in the head with a bat. Joey's the only one. And that's just the God's honest truth.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I would look at it this way: no one's going to care about anything besides for bare knuckle fighting in the next couple of years, because no one's even going to know what it is, because bare knuckle boxing is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Right? Like, none of the other stuff is even going to matter. So whatever they say, no one in America is going to care, and that's where he lives. So who really
Right,
cares?
no.
You know what I mean? Like, what you
No,
do in bare
I agree.
knuckle boxing is what it is. And now you got this big national stage where people like from Buffalo, New York, who've never seen you fight before besides from bare knuckle boxing, that's all I know about you,
Right,
So,
right, exactly.
I mean, to me, you're like the dominant heavyweight, so I don't know any better. You look good when you fight. Like, it's exciting to watch you fight. So that's where I'm at. I got
No, I appreciate it.
2 quick questions going back to Paige. Do you think the shorter rounds really affected her, going from 5s to 2s?
I believe it could. Absolutely. When you first start this, even if you approach it as a boxer, which are 3-minute rounds, you got about 1:45 seconds to feel your opponent out before you implement your plan, because can't just go into a ring. I mean, you got the ideology of what you want to do, but then you have practicality. When you actually get there, what's your opponent allowing you to do or giving you? And with this, you only have 2 minutes. So it's more of a sprint. Like I said earlier, it's a sprint. So when you get in there, you've got to be quick. You got to think quick, and you have to make things happen. You just can't wait. You have to make things happen. You've got to force your opponent to do things that you want. Even if they're got a real tight guard, you got to push them where you want them to push, so you can open up things that you need open. And like I said with Paige, I think that affected her big time, because if she fought the way she did in the 5th round, that fight wouldn't have gone 2 rounds.
Right.
If she fought like that round 1, round 2, the fight would have been over. I truly believe that Britain would have been stopped.
Because round
But,
5 is like round 2 in MMA, if you think about it. Like, that's only 10 minutes in.
Exactly. Exactly.
And she's fought a 25-minute fight, so
Yep.
it's
100%.
tough. Yeah, I know the difference, because I'm a pro, and I spar with amateurs that fight 3-minute rounds, and the pacing that we fight at is completely different. And I can see
100%.
like how it'd be tough if you don't train correctly, like you guys do. Like you already know the secrets. You gotta train those 2-minute rounds. You gotta be fast. But if you're not used to that, and you're training with pros that are fighting 5s, I don't know what kind of training she did. Like, could come out real awful the first couple rounds.
No, 100%. And when I'm done fighting, that's something that I'm in talks with BKFC right now. I really want to, get things going so people understand bare knuckle fighting. Some of these old school coaches are smart enough to catch on, but it's like boxing. Like, I'm not boxing for 30 minutes. This ain't a marathon. So I'm not going to go outside and go run 3 miles because, it's great for your car. No, everything I'm going to do is entailed to a 10-minute duration. I might do 30-minute cardio set, low-end cardio for aerobic base, But everything I do anaerobically or anything that I do for high intensity is going to be based around that 10-minute mark. Everyone's like, well, do 3 minutes. That's just better for you. No, it's not, because it sets your body into a motion to where you become complacent on the 3 minutes. And you don't even realize that your body, you hold reserves. You're like, I got 3 minutes. I got to reserve a little bit. This isn't a reserve situation. This is literally a 2-minute sprint, literally. And you've got to base your body around it, and you got to know. But you're going 2 by 1. So if you're smart enough, you can literally get the break that you need in between each round and be ready to rock and roll, all 5 rounds.
This is coming from a professional. He went to school for it. So listen up, guys, if you're listening.
Yeah, all the young fighters, listen to this.
We got to get Ray to do 2-minute rounds, because then I think you could do all right.
Oh, damn.
These days, Ray's a little too fat for even 3s, so we got to get you on 2s.
I got to cut some weight.
We got to get you fighting 2s at a 5-minute pace. I got one last question, and then you can plug whatever you want to plug before you get out of here. But how's your relationship with David Feldman? We have him on a bunch of times, and we've only really had one person say anything bad about him at all.
And we had him on before Bare Knuckle fighting took off, too.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Right. Yeah, well, Dave and I, man, like I said, Dave and I, we go way back. And way back, 6 years, 7 years? So I was going to be on his first original card way back in Miami, 7 years ago. Signed contracts, everything. Did it twice. And we had a little falling out, and that's why I went over to Europe, because I said, I'm not going to sit idle. This is something I really think I'm going to love. I don't want to go back to MMA. I still had one more fight with Bellator, but I was like, you know what? I want to do this. So I went there, and he kind of fell apart. We didn't really talk much, and it was what it was. Then he got it going, got it wherever it was in the Dakotas, got an actual show up off the ground, and it started catching fire. And once it really started taking off, I reached out, spoke to Nate, and to be honest, you guys are one thing you'll know about me, I'm not a bullshitter. So honestly, Nate wanted nothing to do with me, and I was the number one contender in Europe, and he's like, yeah, it makes no sense for us. We can't have you come over here and beat our guys and make us look second rate. And that was the exact words, and I'm like, okay, that kind of sucks. So because I'm good, you don't want me. That really sucks. And plus we had a little falling out. And then, then like I said, I had a little, a rough go with them where, like I said, I flew 15 hours, fought the same day that I flew in off a 15-hour flight.
Wow.
Like fought 4 hours after I got off the plane. I mean, I still got the knockout, but it was unique. It was a unique situation. And I'm sure that's why they take that shit down, because even the announcer goes, oh, this guy's an absolute legend. He flew 15 hours and is in the ring now.
How did you do weigh-ins?
We do the weigh-ins in the UK the same day.
Damn.
Same day.
So you had to fly in, weigh in, and then fight?
So what I did is I flew in, went down to the arena to go weigh in. I'm a heavyweight, but it's still retarded, still had to weigh in. Then go back to the fighter house. And this was in Liverpool, so I was somewhat close. And went back to the house, took a 2-hour nap, woke up, went to the arena, and obviously I think I was like the third to last fight or fourth last fight. They knew that I had flown. I wanted to be fat, I wanted to get out there quicker than later. And so somewhat kind of got in the middle, I guess. Went out there, fought a big Jenkins. God, what's his name? A guy named Jenkins. He was like 6'7", 270, shredded, big ass white boy, and he was strong as hell. But I luckily was blessed, got the knockout win, and then was done.
Did you blow up your lungs or anything when you got off the plane, or just get off the plane, do the weigh-in, go nap, and then go to the arena and fight?
To be quite honest with you, I did not blow my lungs out.
God damn, dude. You're a savage.
What you're saying, I would always do. Anytime I get off a plane, I would always, 5 minutes, blowout, but I had to fight that day, and I got off the plane, had to get from the airport to the hotel. I had about 5 hours, and I'm like, I'm not going out and gonna go. I'm a fat boy. I'm like, I'm not going out to go do some training and then fight tonight. Like, nah. So I'm just gonna rest. I'm gonna take the approach of just resting. So, and that's literally what I did. Went back, weighed in, went back to the house, took a couple hour nap, went back to the arena, was able to get in there, lucky, got the win, and was done with it. And then, then it's, so much fun. Like, oh yeah, I'm a legend, did all this. But when you look back at it, you're like, God, that was stupid. That was stupid and crazy. Like, doing it in that type of time frame.
Damn, that'll probably take half a year off your life. God damn.
Let's hope not.
All right, man. You got anything else, Ray?
Any plug for you, Josh?
Ah, man. Well, yeah, bro. Let's make sure we get in that hashtag Burns versus Beltran BKFC. That hashtag's going like wildfire right now, and I know Joey Beltran wants that fight. I know Sam Shoemaker gets a little sore ass that I'm asking for, but it's kind of funny because it's like, look, bro, you had a chance to fight me multiple times. For whatever reason, you didn't show up. For whatever reason, you got sick, you got COVID, you got whatever, you didn't come. It happened enough times that they gave me a new opponent. So my opinion is, look, Joey wants to fight. Joey only wants to fight the best. So at the end of the day, when the champ wants it, something's up. So and it's taken, it's caught on like wildfire, and we're just gonna keep pushing it. Hey, if Sam shows up to fight, great. I know in my opinion, Joey's gonna whoop his ass. So that's just my opinion. So because Sam's a one-dimensional fighter, so Joey.
Yeah, I seen him. I seen him fight the Arnold guy, and he was like rushing in, and he was getting hit coming in.
I think he's changed he's not. I don't know. I try to give him credit, but I mean, I remember I was supposed to fight him. I was slotted to fight him for like 6 months, so I was training for him for like 6 months, and we had like 3 shows that didn't happen. One was because he got shut down, not his fault nor mine. Then we had 2 other times. Nate called me, asked me if would take the fight. I'm like, let's do it, right? He calls me back and says his exact words like, your opponent doesn't want to really do it. He doesn't care if he loses, but he doesn't want to look bad doing it. In other words, he's not in shape. Okay, great. So that's not going to happen. Then we're supposed to fight this last time in Kansas. The dude don't do no promotions, no nothing the entire time. And then the week of the fight, the Monday of the fight goes, oh, I got COVID. Bitch, please. So at the end of the day, you didn't. That's it. Now, this is not me talking shit. This is just factual stuff. So if you were really getting ready for a fight, don't you think you'd be promoting it? Don't you think you'd be all about it? So now, we're gonna sit on the sideline. We're either gonna get a number one, the contender elimination fight, and I have an idea who I might fight. Of course, they're not gonna tell me, but I'm assuming who it'll be, and them 2 are gonna fight, Sam and Joey. After I knock out who I fight, I'll get in the ring and challenge the winner. I don't think Sam wins. I think Joey wins. That's just my opinion. So, but the crazy thing is, if something happens and Sam does win, he has no fucking choice but to fight me. So all this little jibber jabber he's got going on, calling me a gatekeeper and a 500 fighter and all this good jazz, no problem, brother. And what you gonna say? What you gonna say when you get knocked out by that 500 fighter, that old man gatekeeper?
And after you kick his ass, come on the podcast again.
Yeah,
you gotta look out for the old guys, right, Ray?
Yeah.
That dude made fun of me, and I knocked him out in 4 seconds. He kept posting all kinds of shit that I was old.
So yeah, no, 100%. No matter what, man, I'll come back, no problem. So, but that's really it, man. You guys want to check out anything? All my websites, it's Josh the Hammer Burns on what is it, Instagram, and then just Josh Burns on Facebook. I really don't do much on Twitter, but it's attached to my Facebook. So if you want to keep up with the fight stuff or where I'm at or what's going on, you can check that out. And that hashtag Burns versus Beltran BKFC, man, we just got to get that shit pushed and get it out there. So no matter what happens,
we'll hashtag this when we post it. We'll hashtag it on YouTube and we'll hashtag it on Facebook where I post it.
Yep.
My guys, I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you very much for coming on Valentine's Day. We appreciate you, and give your lady a special thanks for putting up with us. We appreciate it.
No doubt, guys. All right, man.
All
appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
All right, later.
Right. Bye-bye. Awesome, right?
Awesome.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Sorry, we were gonna make this one half hour, but it turned out really good.
Hey, it was good.
He's got a weird twang too in his accent and that voice. Like it sounds so good. I listen to it. I'm like listening to Dukes of Hazzard. It feels like I like it.
Yeah,
that might get us canceled. That's not a good show to talk about.
But hopefully he wins the belt, and then we have him on again.
Yeah, heavyweight champ.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looked good in the fight I seen.
Yeah.
That you put on.
Yeah, he looked good, and I seen him posting up some videos of some pad work, and he looks pretty good, man, for a big guy. Yeah. Oh man, he hits the kill, man.
I watched on a video. Like this is the worst prep I've ever done for podcasts, and the entire time I've been podcasting. So I didn't even look him up because I thought you weren't coming. because you're so late. And then like it turned out so good, man. I really like this guy. I definitely want to have him back on, and I want to go back and watch all his fights and stuff and see what I can find about the Bellator stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's an MMA. He fought MMA.
Yeah,
I know that kind of opened up your eyes right there, Caveman.
Like, oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. And then I knew he trained Coleman because we talked before, and that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can get Mark Coleman back on too when he's not been drinking. He probably won't talk to us then.
Nah, he's good though.
Yeah, he'd be making fun of you.
Yeah. With the baseball.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh yeah,
And
that was a good
stuff.
one though.
That was a really good one.
Yeah.
I still have that one saved on the original saved on my computer. We'll have to listen to that.
I'm
someday when we're old.
gonna send the link to Josh.
Yeah. Send that link to him for sure. He'll probably like that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he'll know what's going on when he listens to the first couple minutes of it. Anything else?
That's it, man.
Shout out to my lovely wife, Kara Sky. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to all the single females out there.
Yeah. Ray's too pimpy to say it, but I love you, baby.
Yeah. All right.
All right. You can tell I forgot Valentine's Day. I'm just kidding. I did not really forget Valentine's Day. All right.
All right, fight fans. We are
outta
out of here. Peace.